Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Dion's Daily Dose, special edition face-to-face. I'm here with my buddy Shawn. Hello, Shawn.
Hello, everybody.
So today, better have your tinfoil hat because we're going to talk about some of what I find to be some of the most fascinating conspiracy theories out there regarding Trump and the deep state and all of this. But the prevailing theory, I guess, conspiracy theory, is that we're watching a movie. We've heard Donald Trump say on multiple occasions, central casting, right? What do you think, before we kind of take a deep dive in this, what do you think he means when he says that?
He's a showman, Trump.
For sure.
So I think he just likes to play things off as everything as a big show.
Okay. So you think it's more of just like a figure of speech and a way to spend something. Because let's face it, Trump does some spinning. He's a PR master.
He loves to do entertainment and loves to be the center of attention.
Exactly. So do you think that that's just another aspect of that, or do you think there may actually be something to?
No, I think it's
just that. Okay. All right. So we're going to get into what are some of the most interesting ones I've been able to find that point to the evidence, the so-called evidence of this. So we'll get going here shortly. So we're going to start with Gateway Pundit. Now this is from Not OpQ at Not OpQ. Someone that I've been following for a little while on X, Twitter. For somehow I wasn't, then I had to refollow. But anyway, who knows what's going on over there at Twitter/X. But it says here, equally, at Gateway Pundit on their official YouTube account released Laura Loomer catches Kamala Harris body double at Palm Beach. It's like, what? Let's take a look at this, guys. Let's see here. Yeah. Sorry, guys. Still getting used to
I did as well.
Setup. Yeah. Okay, here we go.
That's not Kamala Harris. That doesn't even look like her. That's not Kamala Harris. You guys were sororities. That's not Kamala Harris. It looks nothing like her. Very deceptive to the voters to send body doubles out. Very deceptive. It's a fake Kamala Harris.
Okay, start with that. Does that look like Kamala Harris to you? No.
I've seen her enough that I could tell that
wasn't her. No. But leaders throughout history have used body doubles. That wasn't a ton of evidence. I'm just getting started, so chill. But leaders throughout history have used body doubles. To Saddam Hussein, I guess, had a bunch of them.
Yep. I was just going to mention.
Yeah. He had a whole lot of them. So let's move on here. Okay, so according to this, Joe Biden is not the real Joe Biden. Have you seen this?
I've heard that.
You've heard it. Okay, so let's look at the so-called evidence here. Okay. All right, so I'm looking very closely. Now, I will say some of the pictures that came from the White House, I don't know if you saw that, but some of the pictures that, if you look at this picture in the upper left corner, which I'm going to move us down so that you can see it. Okay, so this is the picture that they released of Joe Biden standing in the Oval Office. This is from that's what the picture that they released, whitehouse.gov. And if you look in the mirror, in the window behind him, you see, it looks like two people standing there.
It does.
Up in the upper right is the zoomed in version of that picture. And the person on the right looks suspiciously like Donald Trump.
It does.
And there's no second person in the actual photo.
That's
Weird, right? I'm not saying it means this or that. I'm just saying it's weird. Okay. So we've got that famous picture of JFK with JFK Jr. sticking his face out of the desk, right? Hold on. There, down here on the bottom left, that very famous photo. Trump has that on his desk. Okay, he had it. So does Biden. Interesting. And then it says reflections are important. Now that's from the so-called Q drops, which we're going to get to. We have to, because there are a lot, and I'll tell you why, because there are a lot of people who are just now learning about this stuff, and they have no idea what's really going on. They don't know whether to believe this stuff they've heard or not. We'll get to it. We're not addressing it today because it's a lot, but let's see what this says. It says even the military does not consider, now this is from 2023. It says even the military does not consider Joe Biden the president, as demonstrated by their inauguration salute for him reserved for funerals and visiting foreign dignitaries. Now it says here, it happens, Biden is finished. I've seen proof that the military does not consider Biden to be POTUS. Marines not saluting, National Guard turning their backs. Now, we talked about this before, where if you watch the video of Joe Biden allegedly being driven to the White House on, I think, January 6th, the National Guard was lining the streets and they all turned their back on him. Did you see that video?
I don't know if we did a show on that.
We talked about it, but I'm not sure that we did an actual show on it. But it says here, no Air Force One ride to D.C. You remember that?
I don't.
It was a private plane that brought him in. It was not Air Force One, which was suspicious.
That is weird.
Yeah. Pentagon telling him to F off. Where's the football?
That's frightening.
Yeah. So they actually had a mainstream media meltdown over that Trump had not turned over the football. It says go ahead.
The football is, if people don't know,
Yep.
is basically the button to do nuclear weapons.
It's the remote control device.
I remember that.
Yeah. And it controls a lot. It's not just nukes. It is basically command authorization for the United States military. That's what the process is. And there's a lot. It can do a lot. Okay, getting further into what this says here. It says, shills are doing cartwheels to explain the points above, but they are forever BTFO now. Not sure. Explain this. The Old Guard, 3rd Infantry, performs the presidential battery salute at the Capitol during the inauguration, except they didn't. I've heard multiple reports on this. What you will see is the battery salute in Arlington when the Bidens bring the wreath to the tomb of the unknown soldier. The presidential salute is 4 guns and 21 shots in rapid succession. Biden didn't get that, by the way. What he got was 3 guns and a 10-second pause between firings. If you look it up, I did. And I'm like, I don't know enough about how the cannons work.
Weird.
But yes, I have verified this one myself, that this is accurate. He got 3 guns and pauses. This is the salute reserved for funerals and visiting foreign dignitaries. That's right. The military considers Joe Biden a foreign entity. There can be no mistake about this. The military does everything by the book. This was completely intentional. Here's Biden's salute, Trump's salute. If you want to watch both of them back to back to see the difference. Sure. Okay. So we'll start with Trump. I don't know if this...
Maybe not.
No, I think it's not going to pick up the code. All right. So hang on. Okay, here it is. Okay. What's that?
So creepy.
Okay. So, but according to all of this here, right? It says that the actor or double is playing out the white hat military controlled shadow presidency to awaken the normies and libtards to the consequences of a president controlled by CCP, deep state, Khazarian, blah, 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 blah. All the bad people. It had to be done this way, not only to awaken the world, prevent another American civil war, but also to prevent the weakening of America's borders, thus making them susceptible to invasion from foreign deep state militias like CCP, etc. All right. First of all, have you seen this picture here?
Yes.
So disgusting.
It is.
It
Creepy
really,
and
yes,
disgusting.
It is really, really vile. There's a lot of those. And the one, I don't know if you can even really see it, but the one where he had his hand over the little girl's mouth. Oh, dude, just creepy, touchy feely. Yep. And
so
we know,
creepy, Joe.
yeah. And the way that he was. Okay, so look, here is where it gets interesting. First lockdown, right? Second lockdown, third lockdown, fourth lockdown. So one of the things that has been brought up time and time again in the quote, I guess the word for it changes all the time, but the truther community, the conspiracy theory people. Okay. So go ahead.
You know why I was laughing with that video up there, or the picture up here that said Nets lockdowns with Biden blindfolded with the mask?
Oh yeah, where he put it over his eyes.
Make sure everybody knew why I was laughing.
Here's an interesting thing. It says, before we go any further, we should pay special attention to Trump intentionally misspelling Biden as Bidan in the following tweet. The significance of the misspelling is Trump communicating with his digital soldiers that Biden is no longer Biden, but rather another guy, Bidan, who is playing the role of Biden.
Interesting.
So, first of all, before we move on, let's address the kind of elephant in the room. There are those who believe that Donald Trump simply makes spelling errors, right? And then there are those who believe that these errors are intentional, that they're meant to send a message. I do know that in the past, he has made what I believe are legitimate spelling errors, but he usually deletes the tweet and does a new one. In this case, he did not. At least I don't think so. It says North Korea, this was May 25th, 2019. North Korea fired off some small weapons, which disturbed some of my people and others, but not me. Swamp Man Joe Biden says, I have confidence that Chairman Kim will keep his promise to me, and also smiled when he called Swamp Man Joe Biden, but he misspelled a low IQ individual and worse. Perhaps that's sending me a signal. Moreover, we should take note of Trump openly saying on C-SPAN that Biden was a different guy on June 11, 2019. Check out this following clip where Trump even elaborates by saying he looks different than he used to. He acts different than he used to. Trump is not only alluring to the obvious discrepancies you will observe in the following images of Biden in this article, but also his noticeably different mannerisms. We don't need to see Trump say that. I think we can agree that Trump said that, right? When a man has to mention my name 76 times in a speech, that means he's in trouble. He's a different guy. He looks different than he used to. He acts different than he used to. He's even slower than he used to be. Oh, yeah. They're working? No, they wouldn't.
Who's the loser? I mean, look.
There we go.
In a speech today, Joe Biden will say that your policies represent an existential threat to this nation. What do you say to Joe Biden? Well, I heard Biden, who's the loser. I mean, look, Joe never got more than 1%, except Obama took him off the trash heap, and now it looks like he's failing. It looks like his friends from the left are going to overtake him pretty soon. But I heard his whole campaign is to hit Trump. You look at what the Obama administration did in terms of the military, in terms of security, in terms of other nations, in terms of almost everything. Much of it now, fortunately for everybody here, has been overturned. But look, when a man has to mention my name 76 times in a speech, that means he's in trouble. Now, I have to tell you, he's a different guy. He looks different than he used to. He acts different than he used to. He's even slower than he used to be. So I don't know. But when he mentions my name that many times,
So he said it.
Mm-hmm.
He said it. Now, there are definitely those who are basically take a huge amount of stock in exactly the way that Trump tweets, exactly the spacings, the spellings, because they believe that it's important. It says here, much like C-SPAN, Fox News truthers Tucker Carlson and Shawn Hannity both tried to awaken their mainstream audiences to the fact that Joe Biden is no longer the same guy from the 80s. In the following clip from November 6, 2020, Tucker explains that, quote, it's becoming ever more clear that there is no Joe Biden. He no longer exists, and that a projection remains, a hologram. Equally, in following clip, by the way, guys, you can get to this by going to humorousmathematics.com, and there's a whole link. There's a bunch of links that will take you to various. It says here, equally, in following clip from March 4th, 2021, Hannity displays side-by-side comparisons of Biden, highlighting facial, mannerism, and vocal differences amongst the Biden characters. Hannity asks, what happened to Joe before he compares clips from the following dates in recent history. So this is October 11th, 2012, all the way up to February 26th. Let's take a look. It's 5 minutes.
Begin tonight with a Hannity investigation into the left's dangerous and favorite political tactic, that of dishonesty. It's no secret the media mob, big tech, the entire Democratic Party are all purveyors of liars, cover-ups, and massive conspiracy theories. But in recent years, it has become that and much worse. Now, just take a look, for example, Joe Biden. Democrats would have you believe that Joe Biden is as sharp as a tack and he hasn't lost a step. The media mob never dares to question the fact that he looks weak and frail and he's struggling cognitively. They write fluff pieces praising his early to bed style up in the residence at 7 p.m., his ability to tend to the fireplace in the Oval Office and he goes to church. And of course, anyone with eyes and to see and ears to hear, we all see he's weak and frail and he's struggling. And while he's never been the smartest person in the room, it wasn't that long ago that Joe could actually string sentences together and speak with clarity and passion. For comparison, let us do what the mob and the media, big tech, and Democrats will never do. Let's take a quick down recent history and look at Joe Biden in 2012 and Joe Biden in 2016 and Joe Biden today.
Before we go any further, do you watch Hannity? No. Okay. Real quick.
I used to, but
why did you stop?
He seemed very, I don't like him because he's arrogant.
He does come across as very arrogant. I will agree with you there. Good.
And sometimes he doesn't get his facts exactly right.
Right. I would actually think, at least in my experience, I think Tucker Carlson does a better job of at least trying to get factual stuff before he says it.
And I think he does it on purpose to fit his narrative.
Could be.
That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it's all about.
I used to be a huge fan of Hannity.
Same. I was too. One of the things that made me turn him off actually was the way that he responded to criticism regarding the lockdown era.
Oh, okay.
And how he fumbled and folded immediately regarding the sponsors. Let's put it that way. I want this to be able to be played. So we'll keep it at that, but I think you guys can extrapolate what I mean.
You decide.
Here we go.
He sent me 2 letters saying, by the way, can you send me some stimulus money for companies here in the state of Wisconsin? We sent millions of dollars. Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone. Make sure the kids hear words. Now they got a new plan. Trust me, it's not going to cost you any more. Folks, follow your instincts on this one. We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
You know the thing.
They put one foot in front of the other. They keep going. That's the unbreakable spirit of the people of America. That's who we are. And Representatives Shirley Jackson Lee, Al Green, Sylvia Garcia, Lizzie Pinelli, Pinell. And what am I doing here?
I don't know.
Lose track here.
I don't know.
Bruh.
What am I doing here?
Right.
I'm losing track again. This is not a medical diagnosis. I'm not a doctor. I won't play one on TV. But it's pretty clear, transparent. It's obvious. That's not the same guy. His fastball is gone if he ever had one. His curveball is gone. And even if he had a slow pitch and a knuckleball, that's gone too. Joe Biden is struggling. The media mob bashes me when I make what is an honest observation. Everyone on earth can see what is happening, including our enemies. We now have foreign news agencies doing what your media will not do. They are raising questions about Joe Biden's cognitive issues. Now, of course, Biden's staffers are clearly aware of his, let's call them limitations. They almost never let him take questions from the press. He rarely appears in public. He hasn't held a single press conference since becoming president. He hasn't even scheduled a joint address to Congress, the State of the Union. And just take a look at how Biden's staffers this week, they actually had to pull the plug because Joe said, oh, okay, I'll answer some questions.
I remember this.
Bars and tone. Take a look.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you all. I really mean it from the bottom. I want to thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm happy to take questions if that's what I'm supposed to do, Nance, whatever you want me to do.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Who shut the feed off?
Yep.
Why did they shut the feed off? What?
And that was not the only time that happened. That happened more than once. They just cut the feed.
Are they hiding? Why are they telling him what to do? Who's in charge here? Is it Ron Klain? Is it, let's see, Kamala Harris? Who is really in charge in this instance?
It's a good question.
Is it the vice president? Is it Ron Klain? She's
Probably
been
Ron
taking the
Klain.
one-on-one calls Kamala Harris has with world leaders. Chief of Staff Ron Klain, according to a Hill report, is apparently pulling all of these strings.
You think it was
as far
him?
as I know, nobody voted for Ron Klain for anything.
Right.
Is it congressional Democrats? Because dozens have already tried to take away Biden's nuclear codes. Is anybody in the media mob outside of me and just a couple of others, and not many of us, are they going to actually do their job and raise what are serious questions? Now, if you're afraid to do it, we can go back and show you all the Democrats, all the members of the media mob and what they did to Ronald Reagan and said about Ronald Reagan, the age question, as they referred to it. They did the same thing to John McCain, but I don't expect them to do it here. Do you?
They didn't.
Right. No.
They didn't throw him over until that terrible debate performance.
Now, here's where it gets, I agree with you. Yeah. At that point, they were like, okay, we can't even pretend anymore.
No.
Then they're like, we gotta yeet him right out of there. So here's where it gets a little interesting. Okay. We already have some, so he acts different, right? Let's talk about that very, very quickly. So I have actual experience with dementia.
Okay.
Have you ever provided close care for someone with dementia?
No, I haven't, but I had a great grandfather who had dementia.
Okay. Did you have any interactions with him?
Kinda. I was kind of young.
Like we were very young. Okay. My maternal grandfather, so my mom's dad, got Alzheimer's. They didn't know it was Alzheimer's till post, but because they can't tell for sure whether it's dementia, Alzheimer's, or something else until an autopsy. But he got dementia, and he acted very, very different from the man that I knew. So, but here's the thing. Two things cannot be true, right? He cannot be at full capacity and act so very different than he did. And he cannot have dementia and be fit to be president. So, but getting into the tinfoil hat stuff, it says during 2018, the real Joe Biden was charged with the following combination of Title 18 U.S. Code felony violations, which will be publicly disclosed at some point during the movie via the emergency broadcast system or another method of declassification. And this is what it claims. It claims that he was arrested for all of these things: treason, misprision of treason, rebellion or insurrection, seditious conspiracy, advocating overthrow of government, crimes against humanity. During early 2019, the real Joe Biden was executed via firing squad for his Title 18 U.S. Code felony violations, amongst other charges that are still hidden under sealed indictment or heightened classification. Luckily, the military has recorded his execution on analog film, non-editable, for future declassification. Interestingly enough, Trump has a history of referring to Biden as shot, which is believed to be a reference to the fact that he was executed via firing squad by the military. For example, in the following clip from October 27, 2020, around 12:30, Trump says, 3 weeks in, Joe's shot, which sounds like a reference to a failed presidency, but with the consideration of double meanings, could also mean Joe Biden was shot within the first 3 weeks of 2019, possibly. What's your take on that?
I don't know.
That's furthest realm of maybe possible, I guess, in an alternate universe. Not really willing to entertain that one. Okay. And once again, we've heard him say he's shot. Whether you like it or not, he's shot, right? Joe is shot. Let's face it. For Fox, for 3, we have Trump in Fayetteville, North Carolina. In the following clip, this was September 19, 2020. Now he's shot. He's got like half of his head left. He's totally shot, and he ends up getting the nomination. This quote may have a double meaning with regards to Joe Biden's dementia or something else. Equally, on October 14th, 2020, in the following Newsmax clip, Trump said, Joe is shot. I say it openly. He's shot. This time seems to be the most blunt variation yet, as Trump literally said, I say it openly, he's shot. For Trump to consistently bring up Joe Biden being shot like this, obviously he is implying we have more than we know, and therefore Biden really was executed via firing squad in 2019. I don't know. But what I will say is bear with me, because hopefully soon we get to the direct image pictures and you can see what they're talking about. So it was talking about this boot, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was first reported on November 29th that Deep State clone had fractured his foot playing with his dog. You remember that, guys, right? Just a mere few days later, that same Joe Biden so flagrantly showed off how not broken his foot was after he allegedly fractured it. He was so obviously concealing an ankle monitor, and this just makes it undeniable. So here's the picture. First of all, that's a weird boot.
That really is.
And there's definitely a lump of some kind up here. Do you see what I'm talking about? It's hard to see, though. What is a hairline fracture? Hairline or stress fractures are tiny cracks on a bone that often develop in the foot or lower leg. It's common for hairline fractures to occur as a result of sports. As the swelling decreases and the pain subsides over the first 2 weeks, it is helpful to reintroduce weight-bearing activities gradually. A complete recovery will typically take between 6 to 8 weeks, after which full mobility should be restored. In some cases, a doctor may recommend protective footwear, splint, crutches, etc. In rare cases, they can be severe enough to warrant surgery if it doesn't heal on its own. It is believed that the above black hat deep state clone double Joe Biden was phased out of the White Hat movie on December 21st, 2020. Trump even mentions during the 21 CPAC that many people were taken care of, including on December 21st, 2020, when Joe Biden got his shot, meaning that the black hat deep state clone was taken care of. Relatedly, before Trump delivered his 2021 CPAC speech, OAN claimed that Joe Biden was in custody until a detention hearing on Friday, January 22nd, 2021. This was OAN's way of phasing out the black hat clone from the white hat movie. The following clip is heavily censored online, and unfortunately, this was the only copy I could find.
This is going to be... All right, let's see this.
Yeah, let's see.
It's not going to be solved within the coming weeks. It's not going to be solved within the coming months. This is going to be a long-term investigation. And rest assured, the Bureau, the Department of Justice, all the U.S. attorneys across the United States that are assisting these investigations, everyone is in for the long haul.
Joe Biden's swearing-in ceremony. He will remain in federal custody until a detention hearing on Friday.
Hold on.
Wait.
Hold on.
Chicago
Hearing
Hold
on Friday.
on.
He will remain in...
Hold on.
Everyone is in for the long haul.
Joe Biden's swearing-in ceremony. He will remain in federal custody until a detention hearing on Friday.
But look at the screen. It says
Yeah,
Chicago
exactly. That I don't know if here's the thing.
I don't
this
think
one
that matches.
No, here's the thing. I love this kind of stuff, and I love diving into the potentials and the theories and all that stuff. Right? Sometimes I can get a little wild on it. Right? But that literally said at the bottom, the Chicago man making threats.
Yeah.
That's who I think they were talking about.
That's who they were. I think so too.
Yeah, it's weird. But okay, it says if you study the following facial comparisons, here's what I was looking for. Of the real Joe Biden, the clone, and the white hat double actor, you should notice critical differences relating to the eye color changing from blue to brown, turkey neck vanishing, and the earlobes being noticeably different. Before you let your cognitive dissonance take control and claim this is mere plastic surgery, you should first come to an understanding that a man this old would need advanced complex facial surgery to achieve this transformation. There would undeniably be noticeable scarring regardless of how good the doctor was. Forehead bone structure always remains unchanged. And the tips of the ears are also never changed during facelifts, unlike the lobes, which can be tightened. So here's the eyes. Allegedly, if you look back many years, Joe Biden had brown eyes. If you look these days, he has blue eyes. Have you ever noticed that before?
I haven't.
But go ahead.
One of the weird things is he might have the same thing that I have, where depending on what I'm wearing or sometimes what's going on, my eye color changes too.
Okay. I will say that mine, the shade varies. It does, but they're always blue, but sometimes they'll get more gray blue. Sometimes they'll get more like sky blue or ice blue. I've never seen somebody whose eyes completely change color from one color to another. Yours do that? What
sometimes
color?
They're brown and sometimes they're blue.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay. See, we have a real life example of how that can happen. I kind of want to see that happen. I want to get it on film.
Okay.
Anyway, it says here, one of the most blatantly noticeable differentiations, right? And the real one would easily have to be the eye color changing from blue to brown as seen above.
But the neck thing's
But
kind of weird.
this is the ears.
I can't explain that.
I cannot explain this. People have said, "Oh, it's from a face or a neck tuck or a facelift." It doesn't change the lobes.
No,
it doesn't at all. And there's like difference in structure there.
Would they change as he ages? That's the only thing I could think of.
So I have looked, and if you guys have found a picture of someone, not a famous person, but a regular person, who in one stage of their life, their ears looked a certain way, and then another stage of their life, they looked like this, then yeah, I'd be open to that because I have not found it. I've looked.
No.
If you look here, so according to this, the earlobe is unattached in 2016, but in 2019, it's attached. In other words, it doesn't hang. It's just like flat right there. Okay. I mean, if you look at this side by side, the ears are most definitely different.
That's weird.
That is odd, right? Okay. So Joe Biden then versus Joe Biden now. The real Joe Biden versus actor Joe Biden. So, according to this, question, is Joe Biden a robot just like the AI introduced in 2017 on talk show named Sophia? Does his wife control him? This person said it's a body double. Chin to eye is longer. Temple to temple is shorter. More hair. Ears placed high. On this one, chin to eye. So chin to eye would be this, the line to the right that comes up like that, right? Chin to eye, longer here than here. Let's see here. All right, so we got that. Yeah, 2 and a finger. So we start from here. Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know. This one, the line goes up higher. You see what I mean? It goes above. Yeah, this one stops right at the edge of the eyebrow. It stops at the inside edge of the eyebrow instead of going up to almost the temple like this one. So, okay. Temple to temple here. Okay. More hair, ear placed high. Okay. What else? What else do we got? Okay. Real forehead prominent and wide. Black forehead narrow. White forehead narrow and sloped. What are we talking about? Black ear highest, white ear lowest. What are we talking about here? I'm not sure what they're trying to say. But it says here, now this is fascinating, guys. This brings our attention to the Illuminati card game's imposter card, which decades in advance coincidentally showcases a gentleman with a neck color mismatch that looks oddly similar to Biden's appearance in a December 5th, 2019 CNBC interview below. The card itself explains that it is to be used in situations where a personality must be duplicated due to assassination, much like Biden's situation. The leftist, globalist controlled fact checkers will try to tell you this is simply a lighting illusion error. But instead of saying you're smarter than that, because I don't know who's watching, maybe you're an idiot, but I'd like to believe you're not. I believe you can make up your own mind is the point. This is the imposter card from, again, an old Illuminati card game. It says this card permits you to play from your hand a personality which duplicates one who has been assassinated. You must also spend an action from one group with an alignment, blah, 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 blah. It talks about that. Due to Jim Carrey's, now this looks remarkably like no longer available. And I'm going to say this, that's common. That's a common theme for anything you're trying to look up to prove any sort of conspiracy. Let's put it that way. Jim Carrey, it says here, due to Jim Carrey's various predictively programmed acting appearances, there are theories circulating that he has been one of the actors playing the role of Biden. This can only be successfully accomplished with the inclusion of acting props like wearing a latex silicone hyperflesh skin mask. Examples seen below, and using a voice modulator in addition to CGI. Everyday people already have access to voice modulators for video gaming, which is true. So why wouldn't the military have this technology decades in advance? Could the White Hat Military Alliance, which we'll stop right there. So there is a theory, okay, that and it goes from a little to massive, okay? This theory is that there is a group of people called the White Hats. Do you know what they're referring to?
I think you've talked about it before. I just don't remember what it had.
White Hats are, according to the theory, right, are patriots that are in positions of power.
Okay.
Okay. And they are basically fighting for you and me. They're fighting for the Constitution of the United States. But there are multiple stages of the so-called White Hat Military Alliance, including some extraterrestrial assistance, secret space program. I mean, it gets really, really out there. But it says here, if you take a look here, so this picture is well circulated. This was from when was this? I'm not sure of the date of these pictures. Here it is. Yeah. October 18th, 2023 on CNN, flexing the newest White Hat Military Alliance certified dog testicle. I'm not sure what that's about. Stylized chin, hyperflash latex skin mask. As you can see, the name comes from the fact that it appears there are two small shaven nuts chilling on his chin under a skin mask, which were not there before. Okay, so this is from October 18th, 2023. You remember the little chin double? That's what they're saying. It's because of
dog.
Yeah, dog testicle, stylized chin, hyperflesh.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's
Anyway.
rough, man.
yeah.
But I do remember seeing these tags, and people tried to claim it was from the the cloth mask, but I don't see how that's possible. It does look remarkably like a tab that should have been folded in to secure with, doesn't it? I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm saying that's what it looks like. This was the mask. This was also interesting. It bunched up. He had a neck bunch when he was on Fox News. They're saying it could be Jim Carrey. The mask, etc. Yep. I know who Jim Carrey is.
Yep, I've heard of him.
Let's see here. There's more that they talk about that it could be. I'm actually looking for. Yeah, and it is absolutely wild. The following clips are simply examples of what exactly an advanced latex mask can do.
Okay.
And if you look at the sheer level of detail that's possible, look at this, man. You can literally look like anyone you want.
That's frightening.
Look at that. And they are, look at this. Let's see. Here we go.
That is frightening.
Watch this.
Right.
Look, this person looks just completely normal, right?
Yep.
Check this out, dude. I've seen this video. It is wild. Look at this. Whoop. Yeah. Yeah. So those of you, I want to make sure I clarify. I am not claiming any of this. I don't have any knowledge of whether this is true. However, be aware that these masks are true. We did a show. I'm not sure if you were with me or not. I think you were, where the CIA.
We did a show, yes.
Yeah, they walked into the Oval Office with one of these masks on as someone else.
It was under George H.W. Bush, I believe.
There you go. I believe so, yeah. And they came in. We're talking to the president. The president couldn't even tell.
And I think they told him at some point, and he's like, what?
Yep. Here's another one. So does this stuff exist? Absolutely.
It's getting way too.
It's crazy, man. Like, you can hardly believe anything you see anymore. Between deep fakes and these masks.
Yeah, I think they're supposed to be this like fat crazy.
Yeah. Before we even get into all the technology advancements out there, between digitizing and all of that stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
CGI. Look at that.
Does it look good?
Yeah, it does.
Does it look creepy?
It looks really creepy. And
Look at that.
Okay. Let me.
Oh, the lips even move.
Yeah, the lips move.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you can talk with it. You got to be able to talk with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now, let's get this on.
You can make it look like anybody could do anything. Yikes.
Yep. Look at that. And you'll see very soon it's a mask. See?
Wow.
Look at that. Look at that, dude.
That's crazy.
Isn't that wild? Your entire body can be whatever they need you to be. Look at that. Okay, I'm gonna actually mute that because that music's annoying. Okay, yeah. It's just music. Look at that, man. It's crazy, isn't it?
That is crazy.
Yeah. See, just looks like a dude until rip.
That is, yeah.
So obviously the tech is there. Former CIA chief of disguise John Mendez explained how she oversaw the equipment used by spies to conceal their identities. Custom-made 5-second masks inspired by Hollywood. That's the lady that went into the Oval Office with the mask on. I'm pretty sure it was John Mendez. It's a very fascinating book, by the way. Personal grade hyperflesh masks cost $500 plus and are readily available online. Listen to Mendez explain the ins and outs of these unique pieces of spy technology that can save your life. Now, according to this series and this theory, and here's the thing, my personal take, they can be using this and Donald Trump still not be the commander-in-chief under this fake presidency and all this stuff, right? Just want to make sure this exists and that's not necessarily or is necessarily true, right? Whatever. This is a separate thing. But I will say, let's see. So there are even other theories circulating that JFK Jr. could possibly be playing the role of Joe Biden under the disguise of skin mask. This is believed to be possible because Joe Biden has not been granted access to Air Force One, and JFK Jr. was known for flying planes, possibly even AF-2 disguised as Joe Biden. Wikipedia went out of their way again on February 6, 2021 for their globalist sponsors to change the definition of AF-1 to be the call sign of any plane that the president flies on, as observed in the editing history by Wikipedia editor Avash Nirvana. Took me a minute. AF-1 versus AF-2. Air Force One is the designation given to any wing plane that the president is currently flying on. There are two jets usually given this title, a pair of highly modified Boeing 747-200Bs for use of the president. But the presidential cabinet has another backup plane that doesn't get a lot of attention, Air Force Two. The reason, according to this, that Joe Biden has no choice other than to use AF-2 is because AF-1 is obviously in use by the actual commander-in-chief. And it goes through all of that, and there's a whole bunch of stuff for that. There is a whole lot more to this, but right now I really just want to focus. Here it is. Okay. The following videos are the referenced YouTube links in the above Chan board posts demonstrating the difference between Biden's foreign dignitary salute in comparison to Trump's traditional presidential battery salute. The military does everything by the book. I don't believe that this was an accident for a moment. So let's look. Here's the two side by side. Okay. So this should be Biden. This should be Trump. Let's look at Trump's. Okay. Seems pretty straightforward, right? Here's Biden's. Hold on. Let's start it at the beginning. There's one. That's completely different, dude. Okay. The rest of the stuff, maybe you can go.
Click on the link and see.
What do you want me to see?
Can you click on the link to see the full title? The 21 gun salute.
Oh, yeah.
So that is different.
Ahead of President Biden and VP Harris.
Yeah, that's
visit.
the thing. I wonder if it was
Traditional pass and review during which they reviewed military troops at the east front of the Capitol. Mr. Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden. That's weird. Why wouldn't they call him President Biden? As well as Harris, second gentleman, got into separate cars, take him to Arlington National for a wreath laying.
So I wonder if that's why. It's because it wasn't for the salute for Joe Biden.
Well, it says 21 gun salute.
That is true. It does say
so,
21.
Yeah.
That is really weird.
That is.
Okay, I have to admit
that's very suspicious, right?
That's weird.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay. So it says equally, the following video showcased the National Guard turn their backs on Biden's motorcade. All right. We've talked about this several times.
I don't think I've ever seen the video.
Have you never seen it? Okay. Look at that.
Wow.
All these have their backs turned. Those back there, those back there, all these guys back here.
That's weird.
That is very unusual, I will say. So it says here, moreover, on June 6, 2021, a uniformed U.S. Armed Forces member released a video of himself online stating that at a retirement ceremony he had just attended for a fellow member, there was a letter of appreciation read to the audience, which was signed by Donald Trump. He goes on to specify that he has been to countless military retirement ceremonies, and the letters of appreciation are always signed by the current United States president, which had the crowd's heads spinning in confusion. In this case, yet again, they're explaining that He explains on TikTok that he contacted his retired friend after the event and asked if he had requested that Trump intentionally sign it, at which point he confirmed that was not the case, and it was natural military protocol to simply be signed by the current U.S. commander-in-chief. And then it goes into Derek Johnson. And I highly recommend, I can't even possibly cover everything that Derek Johnson has said. But according to him, I'll be honest, I don't know the military command manual and all the stuff that he quotes. But according to him, it is right there in black and white in the laws. I don't know. Just say it. Now, according to this, on October 21st, 2021, Biden spoke at the 10th anniversary celebration of the dedication of the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial in Washington, D.C., where he finally admitted in plain sight that he is not in charge of the presidency by stating, "I am not your president. Donald Trump is still your president," as heard in the following clip.
I am not your president. Donald Trump is still your president.
Now, I'm going to wager that much like we hate seeing from the mainstream media, this is probably a smaller clip from a larger statement. Let's see what it says on this.
See how long it is.
Hey, husbands, Valentine's Day is
silence.
54 minutes.
No,
we'll have
we're
to
not
look
doing
for it.
that. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going through all that. I'm sorry. Not right now, anyway. And then, Trump talks about in his second term and da 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 da. And it goes into a lot more stuff. The presidential briefing, the so-called red folder. There's a lot of stuff. But let me see if there's ever no. All right. There's a lot more to this, right? And a lot more instances of these masks being used, or at least what people consider evidence of the masks being used, right? This line, this little flap. Now, knowing what we know about how advanced these masks are, would you agree that it's possible with today's technology to have someone be an identical version with a voice modulator, voice is even taken care of, so looks like them, sounds like them? Imagine the damage somebody could do.
I'm not saying that it is,
right,
but it definitely is possible.
It's possible these days with the technology that we have.
And we can't even believe video sometimes to deep fake.
Exactly. And there's a whole lot more to it. But there is so much, like this video would be hours and hours long if I were to go into all of it, as there's a lot. Now, let's see if there's I was just taking a look. Okay, it's basically everything else. All right. So ultimately, what we see is some, I would call it interpretable evidence. But if you look into all the so-called body doubles that exist, I mean, I'm not saying it happened, but after learning, like, basically how far we've come when it comes to these latex masks and the voice modulation and all these other things, and we've seen like how easy it is for digital hacking, I guess, right? So putting someone in the system, giving them clearance to get in somewhere, that's easy. If you have the skills. I can't freaking do it. But if you have the skills, we've seen countless examples of how that happens. So if you look like the person, you sound like the person, you have a fake ID of being that person, and someone has hacked to let you into an area that this person would be in, it's game on, man. Like, how do you even...
That's frightening.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
And even without getting into some of the more fringe theories involved here, the very potential of this is very concerning. It is very concerning. And it shows how fragile everything really is. Because imagine someone faking being, here's the thing. The president's a little difficult because you got to have Secret Service clued in. Like, there's a lot of stuff that would have to happen for that to be the president. However, there's tons of people that can do lots and lots of damage if they were replaced. Think about it. So, all right, guys. If you like this kind of thing, if you want us to dig into stuff like this some more, let us know. This could be much, much longer. So we're going to call it here because I think I could talk about this stuff for hours and hours, man. Not just that it's interesting, but I like trying to like poke holes in it. And like, I tend to have a skeptic's eye when I view some of this stuff, but at the same time, I'll start to get excited. And I'm like, oh, maybe, and then kind of get into the deep stuff. And that's why like some of it goes really like, dude, it goes into like Galactic Federation. And basically we're living in just very briefly, right? The full scope. There's a secret space program. We have bases all throughout the solar system, and that we're part of this Galactic Federation. Well, there's a war being fought, like a whole bunch of stuff, man. And basically the Earth is locked off from extraterrestrial content or contact because several different theories. We're a prison planet, we're this, we're that. I don't know, man. That
There's
gets
a lot
into way
of
more.
crazy.
There's a lot of stuff out there. And I don't want to call it crazy because who knows? Who knows? Think about everything we've been lied to about.
True. We've been lied and lied and lied.
I'm just saying it would not be outside the realm of possibility for the United States government or governments around the world to keep stuff from their people. Let's be honest. However, just like with the flat earth thing, that would require a whole lot of people to be in on it.
Very true.
And nobody say anything? I don't know, man.
I'm with you on that one. I think it would have leaked.
So we'll see. I do believe that this the upcoming nominations are going to be buck wild.
Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr., and Cash Patel.
Yeah, we'd like to cover all three.
Yep.
That's the plan.
4 hearings.
Yep.
Because RFK has 2.
Yeah, RFK has 2 different ones. So we hope that you guys will tune in for those. But without further ado, God bless you. God bless Indiana. And God bless the United States of America. I hope you have a wonderful night. Bye.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron. Executive producers, Shawn Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2024. Dion's Daily Dose, all rights